Hi Greg.
Hello there, how are you doing?
Very, very wet. I've had to go on the roof to get a signal.
It's funny you should say that.
And it's absolutely pouring down here. How's it in Michigan?
Well, it's roughly the same. There's a Detroit skyline somewhere, but it's lost in the mist and the rain
Right.
up here. But it's pretty gloomy, but I suppose Mitt's pretty happy. It could have been a lot worse for him in what happened here. All the talk that he was going to lose, and he's won. So his people saying a win's a win.
What about Santorum? I mean, the way he's being looked at here is he's just come from nowhere last year. No one paid him any attention at all. Suddenly he became a really big player with his three-state win, and hasn't quite done enough to win in Michigan, but he's still got a good chance, I guess, in places like Ohio.
Well, it's funny. A lot of the talk here was that he'd, these comments in the last few days about Obama being a snob over education, saying that JFK's speech made him want to throw up, that maybe that backfired, that people didn't really like seeing a president, particularly someone like JFK, who's so revered amongst Catholics as well, Santorum being a Catholic. They didn't really like that, and maybe there was a little bit of people backing away from someone who was putting on the anger a bit too much, thinking that was the way forward.
I tell you what was interesting and revealing is, as you know, I had my appendix out in Colorado a couple of weeks ago, and I was lying recuperating from that with 3 nurses at my bedside who were trying to raise my blood pressure. And eventually what worked was them talking about the Republicans. I think it sort of reminded me of work, and it raised my pressure enough for them to stop needing to give me medication. But what was interesting about what they said was they can't believe it's still going on. I mean, they're Americans.
I like that you left your appendix in Colorado, not your heart in San Francisco, by the way. I thought that was quite touching. But I think they think it's going to drag on forever, because I think they see that there are such big egos involved that no one is willing to back down. They all think they've got a place in this race. They all think that because they're getting enough support here and there, that's a justification for carrying on. I don't think that anyone can see a sign of anyone dropping out. In fact, they're talking about May really being the point where certainly one candidate will emerge, but they're scrapping for delegates. And if they all think they've got a chance, and they all think that they can get their message across with enough delegates at the convention, then they'll stay in.
It's going to be very hard for the Republicans to convince Americans that they should get excited about a nominee if they can't themselves.
It seems extraordinary, though, doesn't it? Because this should have been the year when the Tea Party really made their mark. 2010, they took back the House. Everything pointed to them, this being their presidential campaign, and yet they can't get around one candidate. The moderate wing of the Republicans are saying, we've got to find someone who can beat Barack Obama. And trying to find the middle ground in all of that and keep everybody happy seems impossible at the moment.
No, we keep hoping for 2 things. One, that it's going to sort of approach some kind of end game, and it's going to get more predictable, which it doesn't. And we keep hoping the weather's going to get better as well. And I've now got a left foot which is completely drenched. So I think we should ring off and maybe
head for cover.
Look ahead to Tuesday and just continue hoping, possibly in vain, that the weather's going to get better and the political climate's going to get more predictable.
Can't be winter forever.